Okay, so we're picking up where we left off last time. I'm sorry I'm not facing the camera exactly because it's kind of weird. I'm not used to using this particular camcorder, but we are starting at Genesis 2:4-5, where we left off last time. So when the Lord your God made heaven and earth, where there was no shrubs of the field was yet on earth, and no grass of the field had yet sprouted, because the Lord God had not sent rain upon the earth, and there was no man to till the soil. But a flow would upwell from the ground and water the whole surface of the earth. The Lord God formed man from the dust of the earth. He blew in his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. The Lord God planted a garden in Eden, in the east of the place where the man whom he had formed. And from the ground the Lord caused to grow every tree that was pleasing to the sight of good and good for food. It says, with the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and bad. A river issued from Eden to water the garden, and it divided and became into four branches. The name of the first is Pison, the one that winds through the land of Havilah, where there is gold. The second river's name is Gohen, the one that winds through the whole land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris, the one that flows east of Asher. It says Asher, but Assyria in other translations. And the fourth river, which is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and placed him in the Garden of Eden to till it and tend it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden you are free to eat, but of the tree from knowledge, from good and bad, you must not eat of it, for as soon as you eat of it, you shall die. And the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a fitting helper for him. And the Lord God formed out of the earth the wild beasts and all the birds of the sky, and he brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called each living creature, that would be its name. And the man gave to the cattle and the birds of all the sky, and to the wild beasts, but for Adam there was no fitting helper was found. So the Lord God cast a deep sleep upon man, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh at that spot. And the Lord God fashioned the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman, and he brought it to the man. Then the man said, this one at last is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for from man she was taken. Hence a man shall leave his father and mother and cling to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. The two of them were naked, and the man and his wife, yet they felt no shame. Now the serpent was the astutest of all the wild beasts that the Lord had made. He said to the woman, did God really say that you should not eat of the tree in the garden? And the woman replied to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of all the other trees of the garden. It is only about the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden that God said, you shall not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, you're not going to die, but God knows that as soon as you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like divine beings who know good and bad. When the woman saw that the tree was good for eating, and a delight to the eye, and the tree was desirable as a source of wisdom, she took of it fruit and ate. She also gave some to her husband and ate. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they perceived that they were naked, and they sewed together fig leaves and made of themselves loincloths. They heard a sound of the Lord moving about the garden at the breezy time of the day, and the man and his wife hid from the Lord God amongst the trees in the garden. And the Lord God called out to the man and said, said to him, "Where are you?" He replied, "I heard the sound of you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." Then he asked, "Who told you that you were naked? Did you eat from the tree from which I had forbidden you to eat?" And the man said, "The woman that you put at my side, she gave me of the tree, and I ate." And the Lord God said to the woman, "Why have you done this?" And the woman replied, "The serpent buffeted me, and I ate it." Then the Lord said to the serpent, "Because you have did this, you shall be, you sh- wait, because you did this, you more cursed shall you be than all the cattle and all the wild beasts. On your belly you shall crawl, and dirt you shall eat for all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. They shall strike your head, and you shall strike their heels." It says, "And to the woman he said, You will be the most severe in the you will go through pains during childbirth, and in pain you shall bear children. Yet your urges shall be for your husband, yet he shall rule over you." And to Adam he said, "Because you did this, and because you did as your wife said, and ate from the tree about which I commanded you not to eat of, um, cursed is the ground because of you. By toils shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles shall it sprout for you." It says, "But your food shall come from the grasses of the field. By the sweat of your brow shall you get bread to eat until you return to the ground. From it you were taken, and from the dust from dust you are, and from dust you shall return." The man named his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all living things. And the Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife, and clothed them. And the Lord God said, now that the man has and the Lord God said, "Now that man has become like one of us, knowing good and bad, what if he should stretch out his hand and take also from the tree of life and eat and live forever?" So the Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden to till the soil from which he had taken, and he drove the man out, and stationed east of the Garden of Eden, and stationed east from the Garden of Eden the cherubim with the fiercely ever turning sword to guard the way of the tree of life. And we will stop there. And we're stopping at Genesis 4. And then we'll pick up tomorrow from there. Okay, thanks. That was